Hari Om. Now in here, what is meant by a drop of water on a lotus leaf? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna he emphasized on this, that man must live a life of a drop of water on a lotus leaf. So a drop of water on a lotus leaf, the drop does not stick onto that leaf. It will merge in the ocean. So here he says that the drop is we, individual persons, and the ocean is He, the Lord. So if we live our lives like a drop of water on an ocean leaf, on a lotus leaf, then the drop falls into the ocean and merges in that. So we also will merge with the God. That means we will be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So to hear this is, it seems very easy. Because we will be seeing the drops of water on a lotus leaf, and all the drops they'll fall into the ocean, or the water, whatever it is, surrounds it. And we know that the water doesn't stick to that leaf also. But here too, how we can live our lives like that? Is it possible when our lives are full of bondages, right from the broken chain, broken iron chain, to the biggest one? So here we found bondages right from the beginning of our life. All bondages. With everything we come in contact. And we don't like to come out of that. We don't like to come out of the bondages. Then how is it possible for us to be like a drop of water on a lotus leaf? Is it so easy? The reason why we make such bondages is because I, my, mine, we, our, ours. So I and mine, we and our. So these two make us develop a bondage between each and everything we come in contact. So we never think of the necessity of that. Is it necessary for us to keep the bondage, or can we discard it? So with the negative we don't discard, nor the positive. So if we happen to discard anything, then the bondage will automatically go. And then there are certain problems with the bondages. Connecting bondages are different from contact bondages. Contact bondages are inevitable. So only our mind must compulsorily determine itself to discard. Otherwise we cannot discard, we cannot come out of that contact bondages. But there are the connecting bondages, the memories. They go on haunting us. So to come out of this, what is the way? Is there any mantra? to come out of these bondages, to free ourselves. So all this to think and to say it looks so easy, because we'll be hearing so many Swami, so many great people, personalities saying that you have to come out, unless you come out it's not so easy, like that. But to come out means, who must come out? What must come out? So just as again, let us go back to Shankaracharya. So Manisha Panchakam. So when Lord Shiva, he appeared before him, he in the guise of Chandala, Shankaracharya, the great personality, he told him to move aside, because he was a Brahmin and he doesn't want to go touching the Chandala or seeing in front of, opposite to him. So then he asked, whom you want to go? My physical body, which is going to perish, or my soul? So it's a question to be understood. Physical body, always it will perish, so there's no problem at all. Then the soul is same for everyone. It's only then he realized. So when such a great personality himself, he could not come out of this delusion, is it possible for a common man like us to come out of such delusions? So now we understood there is no mantra. Then what are we to do? So to live like that, if we can keep God all the time in our minds, because we have come from Him, and finally our abode must be His lotus feet. So with that thought, if we can keep God all the time in our minds, so the bondage with Him will be growing day by day so intensely that all these will be so petty, seem to be so petty for us, and so we go on discarding each and everything, and finally only He and we remain, or He and I means the person, whoever it is. So that's why Tyagaraja Swami, in one Kirtana he said, Manasa Sancharade. Manasa Sancharade. A beautiful one, really. So Manasa, in the mind. Sancharade, always be in the mind. Always reveal in the mind the Lord. So the Lord must be revealed in the mind in such a way that whatever we see, we find the Lord only in Him, in that. And then all the petty things, the negativities or positive, whatever it is, everything we leave. Only then we can be like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Because we think that only the bondage with the God is the final, and all the others, they are very petty things, and they are like bubbles. At any moment the bondages will go. Even we like an object so deeply, if the object breaks, we throw it out, and then there is no bondage with that. There comes a point, then we finally think that we have to live like a drop of water on a lotus leaf to make ourselves convenient, to make ourselves comfortable, to surrender to Him, to the Mighty One, to the Chaitanya. So So here again, saying is easy for anybody, but for everything, practice makes man perfect. Practice makes man perfect. So abhyas, if anyone does that abhyas, the practice, nothing is impossible. It may be a little difficult in the initial stage, but once when we go to the higher levels, conquering ourselves, first of all we have to conquer ourselves. Our senses, our sensual confinements, restrictions, delusions, then we can come to a broad outlook with which when we observe, we find that same Chaitanya is everywhere. So we have only the bondage with the Chaitanya and nothing more. When we feel like that, we live our lives like that. When we live our lives like that, it means we are like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. So then again we feel that we are instruments in the hands of God when we are only performing our duty. Then again we become drashtas only. We don't, if we want to do any act, we do it. So the act must be good. It must be good for us, good for our people, good for the society at length. We don't expect for the result. Then we can we can just assume ourselves that slowly and steadily we are trying to live like a drop of water. By keeping God, Manasa Sancharare, by keeping the Lord Shyama or Rama in our minds all the time. Nirantar. So Nirantar, all the time, if we can keep the God in our minds and perform the duties without being attached to that, that itself is enough. So that is the greatest realization which man must have, because even the great personalities also, even though those who have acquired so much, those who have acquired a lot of wealth and possessions and so many things, name, fame, all these, everything they have to leave here and go. So in that place, if they have a bondage with the God, which is permanent, and that anyone can have by selfless service. Selfless service is very, very important. When we don't expect anything in return, when we don't think of the service we are doing to whom, when we don't question ourselves like that. That selflessness will make our minds very stable. Then we can understand the magnanimity. Otherwise we cannot understand. That is the selfless grace of God, the divine grace of God. So this is what the great seers have done. They did not do anything for themselves. They did for the good of humanity. Loka Kalyanam, for the good of humanity. So here they have lived their lives like a drop of water on an ocean, on a lotus leaf. Finally for the drop to merge in the ocean. So by practicing we also can come to that stage. It takes some time. But first willpower is very important. Determination is very important. So with the strong determination and willpower we can come to that point, that stage. And then we will inculcate in our daily life. This is inculcation, practice, inculcation, and devoted to that ideology. All these three, they make us come to that stage. Hari Om.